All right. So I am a bit late only because it's Easter weekend. I was doing a lot of things, preparing for tomorrow. So here I am. So I will give you time to come in. Today we're going to be talking about groups. I hope that you are able to join me. I will be posting on my Facebook group as well in regards to what we're going to be covering today. Okay. So I will let everyone trickle in that can. And then we'll start in about 5 minutes or so. If you are not a part of my Facebook group, please feel free to join. The link in the description of that group will be as well as in the description of this video. And any other links to all my other resources as well as my website. So right now we have groups pulled up already, prepared. And so we'll give time for those people to come into the chat. If you are here, let me know. Say hello. Hope you're having a good weekend. Let's see. All right. We have a couple of people in. Like I said, if you're here, put yourself in the chat. And today we are reviewing groups. And if you have not subscribed already, make sure you do so. You would hit the subscribe button, notification button, and then you go from there. Every time I do these videos, you will be able to get the first notification. Right. So today we'll go through some questions. Trying to go through at least like 30 questions today. So let me pull up the quick quiz for this. Let's pull up the code so you can join. All right, so today's groups. All right, instructor pace. We did that last time. And continue. Okay, so if you are listening and you have not put yourself into the chat, you can still join. You just put this code in and we'll go through the groups together. All right. And I need to do a better job because I have not advertised it as much. Just because it's been like a busy week. But from now on, if there's not a lot of people that comes in at all, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to advertise it a week ahead of time. Oh, hey, happy Saturday. No problem. All right, so we do have one person in the chat, Christina. Thank you for being here. Here's the code. It's shown up here where you can join. Let me know if you have any issues joining in. I'm going to try to do at least a good 30 minutes because it's Easter weekend, so we'll see how it goes. But what do you have planned for the weekend? Hopefully, family, friends. Okay. Okay, so group. So we'll get started in like maybe about 5 minutes. Trying to post on my Facebook group. Okay, so I'm currently live. I see you there. All right. So yeah, a couple of more minutes. And then we'll just get right into it. Oh, we have another person. Yay. All right. All right. Let's see if we can get 3 people in here. All right. Okay. You take the NCE on the 20th of April, so my weekends are spent studying. Okay. Okay, so what do you use to study? And also, how you feeling about taking the NCE? All right, we'll get started in like 2 minutes. I know a lot of people who are like trying to schedule their NCE exams. They have like all these later dates. It kind of just like depends on like where you're located, what they have available. All right, so we're gonna get started. As we allow people to trickle in, which is awesome. That's fine. All right, let's make sure I turn this music off. Last time it wasn't the hottest thing. I'll try to turn it down. All right, so let's get started. All right, so prior to the 1960s, most counseling took place between or with and let me know if the music is loud. Okay, so Christina, you use Howard. Your school provides study materials. Oh, one of my professors is on the board, and she recommended that material. I heard about the AATBS before. Okay, nice. Your school provided materials? My school just said, Dr. Rosenthal, and good luck. Like, that's all we got. And she's on the board. What board? Like ethics board or? That's cool though. What school do you go to? What college do you go to? Alright, so we got about a minute. Got one more person who wants to answer. So, Sophia? I hope I'm not saying your name wrong. Okay, let's see what we got. Yes, didactic, right? Think of die, right, means to. Okay. The popularity of family therapy and behavior therapy was not evident in the 1950s, right? But the dyadic was very, very much important during that time. Okay. I see you, Nicole. It's okay. The code is at the bottom. If you can't, can you see it? 081300. All right. I'm gonna go to the next one. Oh, University of North Carolina. Nice. So a group has A membership which can be defined, B, some degree of unity and interaction, and C, a shared purpose, or D, all the above. Did you get the code, Nicole? Okay. We got about 1 minute. Okay, good, awesome. You have the code. All right, I see you. So I'll give you some time to try to answer this question. So, Christina, when do you graduate? Okay. All right, so we're going to end it. Okay. So, yeah, it's all the above, right? A group has a defined meaning, right? A membership, like what are we here for? What's the purpose of the group? Some degree of unity and interaction, right? You think of cohesiveness, it's like another word, right? Coming together, working together. And again, a shared purpose, like why are we all here, right? A group has a name, a membership, maybe a group for anxiety, for example. So, yep, correct. May 3rd, that's my birthday month. Well, happy early graduation. Did you have to take the CPCE as well? We had to take it. And we didn't get much notification about it until 4 months before graduation. Alright, we got one for Jacob Marino, E.G. Williamson. I'm speaking kind of low today. Am I? Ooh, let me see. Maybe it's my volume. All right, let me know if this is better. Can you hear me better with that? I turned my volume up some. Let me know if that's better. Ah, okay. You had to take it before you start your internship. Okay. one more minute, and then let me know if you can all hear me better. I turned the volume up on my computer. All right, 30 seconds left. All right, and 10 seconds. And done. Okay, so yeah, so Jacob Marino, the father of psychodrama. So for the person who picked E.G. Williamson, that is more so with careers. Um, but yeah, so psychodrama is a term that is used in therapy where you would play the role of someone else, right? And you also have a protagonist of someone you have an issue with. Um, so in a group setting, right, you would do that and role play maybe a scenario. If you're an anxiety group, you might role play a situation that could come up in real life, right? And you have a protagonist, and the other people will play out ways to combat that or to cope with that or to deal with certain situations that you might experience. But yeah, so Jacob Marino, he is the father of drama because he created the term group therapy, and he also worked with Alfred Adler as well. Okay. All right. The music is killing you. Okay. All right. Let me turn it off. I tell you, sometimes people like the music. Sometimes people don't like it at all. Okay, Christina, you can hear me. Sweet. Okay. Almost. Okay. Okay. Yes, you can hear better now. Good. I feel bad. Oh no. You are so welcome. I turned the music off anytime. All right. We got about what 5 minutes. All right. All right. And time. I almost want to put a timer up here, but I don't want to like freak anyone out. But yeah, so the American Society for Group Psychotherapy and Psychodrama, and the American Group of Psychotherapy Association. Say that 5 times fast, right? Yeah. So the two organizations they were put together to create the answer that you all picked in order to familiarize with like doing like groups and how important it was to do groups. Okay. All right. Okay. Which theorist works which theorist's work has been classified as a preface to the group movement? All right. All right. I believe I mentioned this person earlier as well when we talked about the psychodrama. Okay. Give about 5 minutes. All right. We have Freud, Jung, Jesse B. Davis, and Alfred Adler. All right. Got about 5 minutes left. Oh, Marino. Yep. Jacob Marino. All right. And 1 minute left. And time. Yeah, so Alfred Adler, right? So Jacob Marino worked with Alfred Adler, right? Alfred Adler, he worked with children, right? Talked about the birth order. And he was engaged in group treatment during the early 1920s, right? But he didn't coin that actual term, but he's affiliated with that, okay, with starting that unknowingly. Okay. All right. Okay, so primary groups are A, preventative and attempt to ward off problems. B, always follows a person-centered paradigm. Or D, always focused on client's childhood. All right. All right, so with the primary groups, it's a primary group, secondary group, and the territory group. And we'll talk about those differences that'll help you with some of these other questions. We got 2 for A. All right, so we got about 5 minutes left on the timer. All right, and time. But no, I'm gonna give you a little bit more time. It's not completely 5 minutes, but I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes. So we have 6 people in here now, so. All right. 1 minute left. All right. All right, so it's going to be the primary, right? Primary groups are preventative, right? So they're to ward off problems. So maybe you go to a group where you learn how to manage speaking in front of people, right? Because you want to make sure that you sound presentable. So maybe you go to a speech group or something like that, right? That's a primary group, right? Um, it's preventative. You don't have those symptoms yet, but it could possibly happen. And then you have secondary groups, right? Secondary groups are when those symptoms exist, right? And they're impacting your everyday life. And so maybe you'll go to that secondary group for speech issues with like anxiety or stage fright. And then territory, right, is when you don't speak at all, right? Maybe you have a really bad speech problem and you can't even function in your daily life and you need someone to help you, and you will go into like maybe an inpatient, right? Because it's more than just speech, it's probably something else that also occurs with that. So I always think about like first degree, second degree, third degree. Primary groups is just preventative, and then secondary groups, like I said, is when you have symptoms but they're not as harmful, right? You're managing the symptoms and learning coping skills. And then territory groups are more so when it's so bad that you cannot function and you might have to go into inpatient. Okay. All right. All right. A group is classified as secondary that implies it is preventative and attempts to ward off problems. B, a difficulty or disturbance is present. C, two therapies are utilized. And D, all the above. Oh, someone picked B already. Who did that? That was quick. I didn't even finish reading all the questions yet. I mean, all the options. All right. All right. We got about 5 minutes. I try to do like maybe like 8 minutes. All right. And then let me know if my examples help, if understanding the information. All right. And we are going to get ready to time. Any last minute people? Yes. Okay. We have one more person. All right. All right. We got 2 minutes left. All right. And we're going to time it. So I think I'm going to just do the 1 minute just so we can try to get through more questions. That way, we can try to do as much as we can. All right. So yes, right. A difficulty or disturbance is present, right? Remember I mentioned primary, right? It's not there, but then secondary, it's present, right? It's causing an issue in your everyday life. Yep, correct. Okay. All right. When comparing a tertiary group with a primary or secondary group, okay. Yep, secondary groups that were prompted are not severe. Yeah, it's severe when it becomes the tertiary group, right? So with secondary groups, you can still go out everyday life, but you're just learning how to manage the symptoms that you have. Thank you, Nicole. Mm-hmm. All right. So we have started doing 1 minute now for each question, just so we can try to get through some questions, some more questions. All right, we got like 30 seconds left on the clock. All right. And time. All right. Yes, right. So it's severe pathology, right? Um, it's like it's too much to deal with, and you need to go in inpatient at this point. Good job. All right, so we're starting at a minute again. All right, so now we're going to talk about group norms. A exists only in encounter groups. B exists in career counseling groups. C are not related to group cohesiveness. Or D govern acceptable behaviors and group rules. All right. Okay. 30 seconds on the clock. Okay. All right. 10 seconds. And time. And then my little timer goes off. Okay. Yes, right. Group norms, right? Talks about like the goal of the group, what's expected of everyone's behavior, right? Settling down the land, right? This is what's supposed to happen every week and so forth, right? Okay. All right. Group therapy initially flourished in the United States due to A, Freud's lectures in this country. Interesting. B, a shortage of competent career counselors. C, a shortage of individual therapists during World War II. And D, pressure from non directive therapists pushing encounter groups. All right. Timer is on. We are on question. All right, 30 seconds on the clock. All right. All right, and time. So World War II, right? World War II happened between 1939 and 1945, right? Um, group therapy initially flourished during the World War II, mainly with individuals who were plagued with severe psychological problems, right? And there was like a shortage, right? So Moreno had brought the idea of group therapy to the United States in 1925. Okay. All right, next one. So group content refers to Material discussed in a group setting. Group process refers to A, an analysis of unconscious, B, analysis of the ego, C, the T group paradigm, and D, the manner in which the discussion and transactions occur. All right, we got 3 already. Got 2 more. All right. All right, we typically get about 4. There's 1 person left. 15 seconds left. All right. And time. Right. So analysis of the unconscious, right? You think of Sigmund Freud, analysis of the ego, you think of Sigmund Freud, right? Or ego theorist. And then T group is another word for a training group, right? That was conducted and created in like 1946, right? It's used typically like to improve something. Maybe you have it for work, or you'll be training like maybe on assertiveness or how to do a job in a particular way. But yeah, so group content is like how they talk to each other, right? What is the group discussing? What are we all doing together, interacting with together? Okay, group cohesiveness. And we talked about this a little earlier, right? A, forces which tend to bind the group members together. B, the analysis of group content. C, a common co-leadership style. And D, a style of leadership. And also group, like the word cohesiveness means a we-ness, right? A sense of unity. So those are some other words that are used throughout this group chapter. All right. So we have typically all 4 in, so I'll just end it here. Yep. Forces which tend to bind the groups together. Mm-hmm. You are all correct. I'm starting to think you all don't need to do groups. All right. Some theorists feel that group therapy differs from group counseling, right? And that A, group counseling will be of a longer duration. Group therapy, also dubbed as personality theory, right? More so personality reconstruction group therapy. Group counseling requires more training, and the group therapy addresses a less disturbed population of clients. Okay, we got 1 down. So there are differences between group therapy and group counseling. All right, we got 2. All right. 30 seconds left. All right. And if you don't feel like you know the answer, just give it your best guess. And we'll just talk about it. All right, so we have the 4 answers. So let's end it here. Okay, so group therapy, also dubbed as um, as personality reconstruction group, right, would have a longer duration, right? So the thing here is that group counseling is more so of um, like maybe if you're doing something and you need help with money management, right? Or if you need help with learning to be like assertive, right? Group therapy is more in depth, right? You can think about that with the Thai Terry, right? It's more, it requires more time and it requires more individual work. Whereas in group counseling, it's all about all the group members and they don't get to work on their own individual needs. They just have to work on maybe just that anxiety. But group therapy requires more individual services, even though it's a group. So it's a personality issue, whereas for group therapy and then group counseling, it's more so basic ADL stuff that you deal with every day, right? So that's how I look at it, right? Because if you're doing group counseling, you might do money management maybe once or twice a month, where group therapy, it's the longer duration because you have to work with personality deficits, okay? All right, so most experts would agree that overall, then unstructured techniques. So this is supposed to say like which one would be best, right? It's definitely worded a little weird. Maybe it's how it came up. Okay. Oh, it's a little different on my screen, but this is how it's supposed to look. All right. Mm-hmm. And for those who already answered, why do you think that's the answer? You can put it in the chat. All right, we got 3 down. All right, so we are going to end it here. Mm-hmm. Right. You are all absolutely correct, right? Structured exercises are less effective than unstructured, right? In a group, you want to have structure, right? You want to have a direction. You want to have a development of what is norms, what's expected in the group, and how you're going to go about the group, right? But you don't want to have too much structure, right? Because then the groups won't be able to participate and have a sense of cohesiveness with each other, right? So it's best to have structured, but not too much of it, right? So you want to have like a balance. And we'll talk about those roles, right? Because y'all said so. Nicole, what? All right, I'm sorry. All right, Nicole, so funny. All right, hopefully that was helpful, right? Structured exercise are less effective, right? Just want to have a balance. And that goes back to the authoritarian, democratic, and laissez-faire, right? And we'll talk about that as we go along. One advantage of group work is that a counselor can see more clients in a given period of time. Keep that in mind. We might have a question like that. One disadvantage is that a counselor can be too focused on group processes, and which one is the best answer? Right. All right, we got one for C, A, and B. All right. We have about 30 seconds left on the clock. Okay. All right, 10 seconds. All right, and time. All right, so thus individual issues are not examined. So when we go back to group counseling, right? Um, unless it's group therapy, it might be discussed, right? Because it's more so a personality like deficit. But if it's group counseling, you're not able to really focus on just that one individual, right? Because then you have to refer that person to individual therapy. Okay. All right. According to the risky shift phenomenon, okay. And if you ever heard of the risky shift phenomenon, right? If you don't know it, give it your best shot. All right, 30 seconds on the clock. All right, almost time. Think about which ones can you rule out based on what we went over already, or just doesn't make any sense. Okay, we got 4. Okay, so the risky shift phenomenon, right? Is the group decision will be less conservative than the average group member's decision. So all this is saying, long story short, is that risky shift occurs when people change their decisions or opinions to become more extreme and risky when they're part of a group, right? Maybe someone might be opting out more in the group than they would do on their own, right? When you're part of a group, you make more decisions that you probably wouldn't make outside, right? Some of it's to fit in, or some of it because it's just camaraderie, right? So that's just the risky shift phenomenon. They become less conservative. I always think like conservative is more like reserved, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep, you're right, Nicole. Yep. More extreme decisions than they would do alone. Okay, so T groups offer stress ways employees can express themselves in an effective manner. The T in T group really stands for, and we talked about this a little earlier. Let's see if you can remember it. All right. 30 seconds on the clock. All right, and time. Yep, training, right? And we talked about this earlier. Maybe you might be getting training for assertiveness or how to do your job the right way, right? So you don't get fired. Okay. All right. Okay. A counselor suggests that her client join an assertiveness training group. Most assertive training groups are A, unstructured, B, psychodynamic or person centered, C, focused heavily on existential concerns, or D, behavioristic and highly structured. All right. All right. Would it be person centered with Carl Rogers, psychodynamic, existential with like Viktor Frankl, finding the meaning to live, right? All right, 30 seconds on the clock. All right. All right. And one more. Where's the fourth person at? You got it. You get 10 seconds to get an answer in there. All right. And time. Yeah, so assertive training, right? It's going to be structured because you're being taught how to do something. And it's going to be behavioristic because you're like literally have to assert, you have to show, right? Assertiveness, right? So one is highly structured because you have to do it a certain way. You have certain things you have to learn, and behavior because you're going to modify that behavior based on what you've learned, right? Okay. Let's do the next one. So we'll stop at 20 tonight. So we have one more after this one. And then if you are still here, you're in the chat, let me know which topic you want to go over next weekend. I'm going to try to start a little earlier. Like I said, it was Easter weekend, so things got a little hectic. But let me know what topic you think you might want to go over next week. I'm going to do these sessions a bit earlier, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, Weight Watchers is a what? Is it a training group that we talked about? Is it a self-help or an AA group, psychotherapy group, or a marathon group? All right, we got one person in. Think about what is a Weight Watchers, like how is it helpful? What does it do? All right. 15 seconds left on the clock. Let's see if we can try to get everybody in the answer. If you don't know, just think about your instincts and go with it, right? Sometimes we're not going to know the answer, and that's okay. Just give it our best shot, though. All right. Any topic works for you. I will take any extra help. Hey, I'm all here for it. Okay. Thank you for the feedback, Christina. All right. 5 seconds left on the clock. And I'll note that for next week. Careers. Oh, good old careers. I like careers. Pandora, Frank Parson, E.G. Williamson. All right, and time. All right, yeah. So it's a self-help group, right? You have the Weight Watchers app, right? It's also how you can help yourself. I see you, Nicole. You say careers, careers, careers. I have you. Okay, we'll do careers next time. So we'll go over that next week on Saturday. All right. So yes, Weight Watchers is a self-help or support group. A marathon group is a group that runs over a longer period of time, maybe like a weekend, a couple of days. Right? You think about a marathon, you have different parts of a marathon, and they happen on different days. Right? So maybe it's like a retreat or something like that. Okay. One more question. All right, now I'll write down careers. All right. You're so funny, Nicole. ACA and the ASGW division recommended screening for potential group members. Okay, for all groups, only when the group is in a hospital and patient setting, only when the group is composed of minors, and D, only if the group deals with the chemical dependency. Okay. Why do we need to do screening? All right. We got one person down, too. And FYI, it's official. We'll do careers Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so you can get the notification as soon as I go live. Okay. All right, 15 lovely seconds left on the clock. Okay. One more person down. All right, 5 seconds. And time. Okay. So, correct, right? You want to screen, right? For potential people who might not fit in the group, people who might have questions about the group. You talk about confidentiality, all these things, right? It's a little different, like when you do open groups versus a closed group, because open groups, people can come in and they don't have to do screening, right? They fluctuate, but it keeps the population still going. But when you're in a closed group, right, private group, you still talk about it with every one of those members. And the thing about a private or closed group is that if people leave, there is no one left, right? So, and keep that in mind because that'll come up when you start doing some more of these questions. But it is 10:04. I really appreciate everyone who took time out to come and do these live sessions. It means a lot for me to be able to help other people. I don't care if it's one person, but I'm happy with the 5 tonight, and I appreciate that. And then next week we're gonna do careers, careers, careers. Nicole, I see you. Okay, we're gonna do careers. So I would say just read a chapter if you have the red book or if you have the purple book, whatever app you're using or book material you're using. Review that, and then I will see everyone next weekend, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for careers. Okay, have a good night and a happy Easter if you celebrate it.